last night I had a webinar and Emily asked an excellent question afterward regarding taking natural anti-inflammatories such as turmeric and resveratrol. And her question was, are these something that we should take long-term as part of our wellness strategy? And although I liked the answer I gave her, I was thinking about it this morning and I feel like it was incomplete. So I wanted to make this video to amend my answer or add to it or finish it. Okay. So what you're going to see in a second is the clip from last night where she asked the question and I answered her. And then I'm going to come back to here and add the material that I thought about this morning to more fully, completely answer Emily's question. So I hope you like it. Here's last night's clip.
I have a quick one. Well, maybe it's not quick. You know, you were just talking about the Turmeric and the Resveratrol. You know, my question is like, is there any harm in just taking those for their anti-inflammatory stuff? I don't want to say forever, but, you know, just like long-term, like just forever. And I realize there's an irony to like, well, would it be better to take, you know, methotrexate or, you know, something else? But like if you're, we gotta stay hydrated. Like, I don't know what I'm getting at. Like, does your body kind of say like, oh, well, it's feeding me anti-inflammatory stuff, so I don't really have to do anything. So I'm never gonna be my own anti-inflammatory.
Yeah. Again, it's probably annoying for you guys, but it goes back to that depends on the person, right? So like if someone has a chronic inflammatory disease and say they have a SNP for IL-6 and TNF-alpha, then it's going to make more sense for them to be on it longer term versus if say I have no issues and I'm just taking it because I read a blog that said it's a good anti-inflammatory, right? Because remember, we want balance. We don't necessarily want to be dominant anti-inflammatory, because dominant anti-inflammatory, then we get an infection where we need to appropriately inflame against it to kill it. And we're taking so much fish oil, turmeric, resveratrol, like every day because we read it, we need to be anti-inflammatory. Well, now we're inhibiting our ability to respond appropriately to that infection. So does that make sense? So we want to be able to start a fire when we need to, and we need to put it out and resolve the fires once we've cleared the infection or healed the wound or whatever it is. And then, you know, there can be some utility in taking it, you know, long term, but again, it's more case specific than for me to say all of you should be taking turmeric and resveratrol every day. I don't think that's necessarily true. Or if you were to, the dose would change. So depending on your goal. So like if we're trying to work with a cancer patient to help improve chemo and radiation, that would look different than giving it to an inflamed knee patient to help suppress that, which would look different from someone who's trying to take it for anti-aging, because they both actually have what are called senolytic benefits, which help slow aging or promote anti-aging, keep telomeres from shortening, blah, blah, blah. That's another video. But dosing would be different depending on those goals. And obviously those goals would vary based on the person in front of us. All right, so you saw my answer to Emily regarding taking long-term anti-inflammatories like turmeric and resveratrol. And I like that answer I gave her. That's why I gave her the answer. But I'd like to give you one that you could take long-term and that is supported by research. And the anti-inflammatory / antioxidant that I think would be good for most people to take long-term is glutathione. Why is that? Well, glutathione is our body's master antioxidant. Okay, so it is one of our best anti-inflammatories, antioxidant, or fire extinguisher. And it functions in the liver to help support detoxification and the oxidative stress created by that. It functions in the immune system to promote a Th1 immune response, which is our antiviral, anti-cancer surveillance. It functions big time in the lungs and in the lung fluids to help prevent things like asthma and upper respiratory viral infections. It's needed in the skin. It's needed in all tissues. And it's depleted by everything in our life, okay? If you have infections, those are going to deplete your glutathione levels. If you're exposed to toxins, those are going to deplete your glutathione levels. If you're a smoker or exposed to secondhand or thirdhand smoke, that depletes it. Okay, BPA depletes it, glyphosate depletes it, off-gassing from carpets and hardwood floors and mercury amalgams. All of these things deplete our glutathione. Being human depletes your glutathione. So you need to constantly be replenishing the glutathione. And our bodies can do that naturally, but research shows that up to 40% of people have a genetic null mutation in the glutathione producing genes. So that means up to 40% of people are deficient in glutathione. And so if you're one of those people, then you do worse with environmental exposures, inflammatory triggers, infections than someone who has sufficient glutathione production capabilities. And so that genetic difference, that variance, may be the difference in the question, well, how come my wife and I went to the same party, were exposed to the same people, shook the same hands, hugged the same people, touched the same doorknobs, and I got sick and she didn't? Well, perhaps one of the factors is you have the null mutation in that glutathione gene and your wife doesn't. So she has better glutathione reserves than you do, so she can handle those exposures better and longer than you can. So glutathione is something that most people are likely to do well with long term. And you might say, well, why take glutathione? That's expensive. I could take N-acetylcysteine instead. That's true. N-acetylcysteine is a precursor for glutathione. It is less expensive, but not everyone converts NAC efficiently to glutathione. Again, there's genetic uniqueness there. So that would be something, if you know your genetics and you're clean, then perhaps you can get by with NAC. But if you're someone that has those mutations, then you'll need glutathione proper. So this is a more complete answer to Emily's question. Thank you again, Emily, for the great question. And I hope this helps you and furthers your understanding. And you know me, I'm always trying to help you live a life at optimal.